The South Korean economy is forecast to grow 1.6% this year. Now, this is according to a state-run think tank following a downward revision to reflect the prolonged political paralysis here and the broader market ramifications of Trump tariffs. Our correspondent Moon Hye-ryeon reports.
South Korea's economic growth projection for the year has been slashed on the back of rising uncertainties with U.S. trade tariffs and continued political instability in the country. In its outlook published on Tuesday, the state-run Korea Development Institute forecast the economy to grow 0.9% in the first half of 2025 and 2.2% in the second half, bringing the annual growth rate to 1.6%. That's down by 0.4 percentage points from its previous forecast of 2% released in November. This is lower than forecast from major institutions such as the OECD at 2.1%, but similar to the Bank of Korea's projection of 1.6 to 1.7%. The agency noted that the prolonged slump in domestic demand exacerbated by political turmoil in the country, combined with a slowdown in exports, is weighing down on economic growth. The construction sector remains in recession, while the service sector struggles to recover. Despite strong semiconductor demand, the goods exports were revised down from 1.9% to 1.5%, reflecting deteriorating trade conditions. Weak domestic demand is, however, likely to limit inflationary pressure, keeping the KDI's consumer price inflation forecast at 1.6%. It is also expected to affect the labor market as sluggish domestic demand limits job growth. These projections, however, come with the KDI assuming that U.S. trade restrictions under the Trump administration would be implemented gradually. The faster-than-expected policy moves have significantly increased uncertainty.
If trade tensions under Trump escalate further or political instability drags on longer than expected, growth could fall below the 1.6% we've projected.
That being said, the agency pointed out that tariffs on steel and aluminium are unlikely to have a great impact on the country's GDP growth.
Steel and aluminium make up about 0.8% of our total exports to the US, so in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge portion of our overall portions. If the tariffs do go into effect, these industries would take a significant hit, but in terms of GDP, we don't expect the impact to be that substantial.
With weak consumption, slowing exports and persistent uncertainty both at home and abroad, the KDI's latest outlook signals that the country's economic recovery remains vulnerable. Moon Hye-ryeon, Arirang News.